is David Inganzo.
Good afternoon, honorable judges. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to stand before you. I've stood before many judges in the last 6 years. I'd like to congratulate Judge Lee that in the Broward County system, family court system, they respect due process. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the 11th Judicial Circuit. I've been before Judge Greenhart. I love Judge Greenhart. I wish he would have never retired. My first judge was Judge Luzo. And my last judge was just on TV, Dale C. Cohen, in the case with the 2 women that wanted to get divorced. In Miami-Dade County, I started off with Judge Cohen Lando, rest in peace. She died, and it was assigned to Maria Espinosa Dennis. What a wonderful judge. Judge Maria Espinosa Dennis appeared on TV September 17, 2010 at 7:30 in the morning on Telemiami. The day before, she was in the Spanish program Arrebatados. In the morning of the 17th, it's a call-in show. I picked up the phone as my dad notified me that my paternity case judge was on TV. I called the judge, and it was put on hold. I was the first caller. The judge went there to speak about domestic violence and undocumented immigrants, that they should step forward and not be abused. I agree. I have a daughter, a sister, and a mother. And judges, I'm a victim of domestic violence. In 2002, my ex-wife assaulted me. She spent 3 days in jail. Believe it or not. On that day of September 17, when the station put the call through to the judge live on TV, I asked the judge 2 questions, and this was totally in Spanish. I asked the judge the first question, what is the penalty for making false allegations of domestic violence? She explained to the public. The second question, and the last question I asked her was, how do you combat it? She indicated and instructed me to do 3 things. Contact the police, contact the DA, the district attorney, and to tell your family court judge about it. At that point, I told her, you are my family court judge, live on TV. She almost fell off the chair. I wrote to the Florida bar. I copied her. She recused herself from the case. In 2013, Judge Manno-Schurr took this case. No, I'm sorry, Judge Silverman. Judge Silverman, a big fan of the building that we have here, the old building. And, you know, for what it's worth, he's a good judge. However, he was about to retire, and he wanted to get through. And, well, you know, after a year and a motion for reconsideration, he turned me down again. I filed a paternity suit in 2008, December 4th. But 3 months before that, in October 27th, my daughter's mother called me into a hearing, served me with a temporary restraining order. In that restraining order, Judge Don S. Cohn was presiding. We were both self-represented. My ex, the mother of my daughter, we were never married, but I've known her for 25 years. We met in college, St. Thomas University in 1990. Okay. I have 2 degrees, by the way, from there. And I speak 5 languages. And what happened is that Judge Don S. Cohn, I filed a motion to dissolve that morning. He took some time to read it, turned to Miss Rose, my ex, and asked her if I was any danger, if she felt any fear. She said no. He denied and dismissed the case. However, he did not address how and when I was going to see my daughter. And he basically left me in an indeterminate state. As I left there, scared of the mom now for the false allegations. I'm a victim of domestic violence. I'll reiterate it again. Okay, I would never commit an act of domestic violence against anyone. I became very depressed, and over the next 3 days, it became a severe depressive episode. I called my EAP. I was with a multinational company making nearly $200,000 a year. They referred me to an Arnold Carter psychiatrist on an emergency basis. Your Honors, on April 13th this year, the Department of Health is prosecuting Dr. Arnold the Butcher Quack Carter for malpractice against me. I am the state's main witness. The court-appointed psychologist, Dr. Vigil, only spoke with Dr. Carter and reported to Maria Espinosa Dennis. And paragraph 29 of my final judgment makes me a slave of the court, seeing a psychologist on a weekly basis, psychiatrist on a monthly basis, and taking medication, of which now I have been diagnosed, as Mr. Glenn explained, and Dr. Jimenez and Pastor Waldmiller, with post-traumatic stress disorder. I also have an anxiety disorder. The last time I saw my daughter was at the family courthouse on January 24th. When my daughter left the room, I explained to the 3 observers who have observed me for 36 visits and have written the most beautiful stuff. Basically, I'm the best dad on planet Earth. You could see it for yourself, Your Honor. And what the judge, Manno-Schurr, told me is take another 12 weeks, which is, I don't know, I know the definition of insanity isn't Einstein's, but his little quote is very applicable here. Okay. How could she expect to get a different result? Nonetheless, when I showed up on the first visit, January 24th, my daughter was a different person. As Mr. Glenn just talked about, parental alienation. I filed an amicus brief. In 2013, a friend of the court filed and explained to Judge Manno-Schurr what parental alienation is. She allowed it to be stricken from the record. I believe because it implicates her as well. On January 24th, I complained to the 3 observers. They referred me back. I told them I was going to call DC up. They had an obligation as mandatory, as somebody just said here. Basically, what's happened is they took away my visitation. I no longer can see my daughter. I asked for help.
I see your 6 minutes is up. Could you wrap up, please?
Yes, I do want to wrap up, and I'll say this. This is the only thing I prepared. Justice is a part of the human makeup, and if you deprive a person of justice on a continuous basis, it's really an attack, and not to get religious or anything, but it's an attack on the human soul. We have, as societies, evolved ideas of justice, and we have done that because human nature needs justice. And it needs resolution. And if you deprive somebody of that long enough, they're going to